Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review, episode 140. This time I'm reviewing the 144th episode of the anime, which is called The Shinobi Prison. How you pronounce the name of this place? It is Hozuki Castle. Yes. Okay. I should point out though that the place basically that they're at this episode was last seen in the film Naruto Blood Prison. A film that I was not really a big fan of when I watched it. Well, for instance, the fact that the reasoning, for one thing, the film was not canon to the actual series. Nope, it's its own timeline. That's one thing. Another, stuff contradicts from the series. Like, three, the fact that the reasoning for Naruto being sent there was so they could take on the warden, which for some reason Naruto knew nothing about it. I mean, he was framed for crimes he didn't commit. Boruto, on the other hand, who is set undercover in the prison, is told about the mission ahead of time. Naruto knew nothing about it at all. He was kept completely in the dark. Why? They never explain why. Also, unlike the film, where the people who came to prison actually are allowed to keep their damn ninja outfits, this particular thing actually bothered to fix that little problem, because I'm sure the people who probably saw him like, hey, they're in a prison. Why are they wearing jumpsuits? So everybody's in orange jumpsuits, just like how they are in real life prisons. Yep. And the place looks a lot cleaner, and the cells look like normal prison cells. Yeah, they kind of look like equivalent to a real life prison compared to the way it was within the film, where it was like nothing like the way it was in modern day. And plus, there's tech in there and stuff like that. Yep. Now, apparently the warden is on Naruto's side, so at least the warden does know what's going on. And the reason why they're there is actually it's interesting. It just basically protect a prisoner for a certain point in time until the actual protection can arrive, or at least get transferred to prison. Because apparently the prison, where the prison is located, they are very slow. It's like, okay, it'll take us basically about a month to send protection there. Oh yeah, and the place is located in the hidden grass, which I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. Yeah, in the film it was landlocked. It was basically you can easily get there. In the show, it seems like they made this prison partially based upon Alcatraz in some way. You know, an island prison. Yep. So the ceremony in which they bind the chakra, that actually is from the film. It's a very similar sequence, except it's done with a different character, but yes, it's done with fire release. Now, for some reason, the episode kind of ignores the Kakashi light novel, because it was established in that one that the warden was basically had ice release, not fire, and it was a woman. Unknown happened to the character. Maybe she was a temporary warden. It's possible. They don't really mention her in the episode. I'd be surprised they mention her in a following episode. Maybe she was killed by somebody. I have no idea. Because they mentioned that the whole warden, the people who run the prison, are basically from a clan of fire releasers, of fire users. Okay, perfectly fine. So they're sent there. They give a little information about the Meiji Man. Now, the Meiji Man is actually from the Boruto manga. Though, despite the fact this being sort of an adaptation of the arc, it is like, because I read the arc and I looked it up just prior to watching the episode, I'm like, yeah, despite the fact using the Meiji Bandits, like, the episode itself was mostly original stuff. Yeah, it's not done for the manga at all, despite their claims this arc really is, even though the only thing they took from that arc is the bandits themselves. Though, like, one bandit appears in the episode, the other ones don't. So, they arrive at the prison by boat. Yes, by boat. Wearing a basket on their head and some rag clothes. You see Boruto and Misuke briefly wearing their training attire, and then next time you see them, they're in their orange jumpsuits. Thank God they didn't have that scene they had in the movie where there was a scene in the film I was not a fan of. Okay, so apparently Naruto had to strip completely naked. First he shut down his underwear, and then they told him, take off your underwear. And he's like, no. And then they forced it off him. Yeah, that was stupid. I'm not sure why the heck they decided to do that for. In the show, thank God they didn't do that because that would have been stupid. Especially since, for one thing, Naruto at that point was about 15, 16. Boruto was still 12. You don't need to do that for a freaking 12-year-old. That's stupid. Also, the guards basically. Oh, there's one guard. I think his name's Braga. He is very strict. He's kind of like the show's version of the villain from the Blood Prison film. In some ways, got some personality. He is very strict, and unlike the warden in the show, where he's very a little bit too soft and basically believes in reform. Well, this guard, who I think is like the captain of the guard, he does not believe in reform. He thinks like, oh yeah, you commit your crime, you stay here. Yeah, and like the way to get to the particular person they want to get to, they had to fake being sick. So Mitsuki and Boruto come across because one of the prisoners, I think his name is not Bra, I think his name is I think his name is. Yeah, they were brought to a cell which had a couple prisoners. One is a reader who somehow steals Boruto's toothbrush, and then Mitsuki somehow off screen just steals his book. So it's like, okay, I'll give back your book if you give me the toothbrush. Fine. So they show him on the prison, mention the medical wards, got very, very nice. And they come across Chinese lantern plants. I'm like, okay, why would you mention something that for a country that actually does not exist in the Naruto universe? China. My only guess is these are probably real life plants in China. I don't know. So, they mentioned the white ones are poisonous, at least allegedly. The red ones are not. So, Mitsuki uses his snake, which he somehow still has. He must have kept that very well hidden from all the strip search he had to go through. So, they grab the thing, get back there real quick. Of course, Boruto had basically buy time with him get caught in a freaking fence. I mean, the scene itself is very similar to what happened with. I saw footage of the match between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, where Shawn Michaels had to caught up in the ropes in order to get Razor Ramon more time to get where you need to get. It's very similar. I don't know if the writer is actually a fan of that match, because the match itself is amazing. Because if you ever get a chance to watch it from WrestleMania 10, I didn't watch it when the match originally happened. I watched it online. It's a great match. And a classic one, too. So, they get the fruit. I basically just very surprised the fact they actually got it. Boruto eats it, gets the medical ward, and in case you're wondering, where's Sadara on all this? Well, she has an important job, being undercover as a journalist student. Wearing an outfit that looks exactly like her original training outfit, but different color scheme. Instead of being red, it's blue. And she doesn't wear a ninja headband. Yeah, Naruto, let's see, Boruto and Mitsuki actually hide the ninja headband. They probably had to hide the ninja headbands in order to make sure they get into the prison. Yeah, I would think that they probably would have noticed the outfits right away. Hey, you guys are ninjas. Why are you guys posing as criminals for? Yeah, my guess is people must have been really that stupid, or at least they probably must have forged paperwork for this place. Yeah, so she gets a little cover, and of course we hear about the whole prison warden system from Bra, and of course they had to break up a fight, and you see Sadara pop up a couple times in the episode, like after the flashback. You see her walk into the prison, going to the mess hall, and then she's walking to another room, break up a fight, and that's when I see her. Yep, after Boruto eats the fruit, he goes to the medical wing. Gets a chance to meet the guy they're actually here sent to protect. First, he's like, hey, you're going, and of course he gets knocked out by him via metal tray. Because why not? And then he proceeds to off-screen tie and basically strap him to the bed because the thing is out to kill him. Boruto's like, no, I'm not here to kill you. I'm here to protect you. I was sent here by the hidden leaf. And he's like, okay, what's the code of the envelope I sent you? And he's like, how do you remember that? And he's about him. He's like, okay, it was a blue envelope. It's like, okay, fine. They get to talking, and then Boruto, of course, he's feeling better because he's been out for a freaking day. So he gets transported back to his cell, and then we see the guy who actually put this Kawaki in this particular position. He is in solitary confinement. He's been there since like he got there. He's given a knife to stab him, and he proceeds to go to him, this assailant, unknown who this person is. They're probably not going to feel it until probably next week. Yeah, so he gets assaulted, and somehow Boruto has the ability to have some authority over the guards. Like, hey, go, track down who that assailant was. Somehow, despite being a prisoner, he's able to have some authority in this. I don't know. It's particularly bizarre. Yeah, and apparently the medical ward has got tight security, like really, really tight. Yep, and the episode ends with basically seeing the assailant outside. Still don't know who this person is. It could be the tour guide. Who knows? Yeah, pretty decent start to this particular arc. It's not a terrible episode per se, but at least I gotta say this. It looks like this is gonna be a lot more interesting than the Blood Prison film, which this prison made his debut in. I mean, aside from the fact that it changes location, appearance-wise, it looks exactly the same as in the film. I'd say probably the only thing they changed about it is where it actually is. Yeah, as for the reason for this, I'm not really sure why, and why they changed it. Who was the in charge administration of this place? Yeah, in the show, it's the hidden grass for some reason. I have no idea why. In the film, it's somebody else. Hidden leaf. No, I think it's and basically Barto and Mitsuki are basically people from the land of water, and they're saying the crime is they committed armed robbery, so they sentence 8 years in prison. Like 8 years in prison. It's kind of similar to what Monk was sentenced to for his term in one episode of Monk. He was sentenced to 5 years for embezzlement. It's basically a small amount. Yeah. So all in all, pretty good, pretty decent episode to start the arc off. It's got a pretty slow build. It's got good pacing with it. Um, they say that the Meiji Man's leader is very much a hidden person, so yeah, at least it's better than having Boruto babysit a daimyo's son, because that's what he did in the manga for this particular arc. Oh yeah, that's what he did for 2 frickin' chapters. Babysit a daimyo's son. Man, not doing it. Yeah, but all in all, decent episode. Okay, so that's this particular review. I have roughly one more review I'm hoping to do today. Be of course review of Varanma half. Otherwise though, that'll be pretty much it for today, okay? Bless you! So we'll see you in the next video. Bye.